everyone. Thank you for coming in. With 105 heat index, MPS has started and education workers are back in buildings. So my name is Ingrid Walker Henry. I'm the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, and I have a few words about the buildings and the heat. On September 30th, all schools in the U.S. will see an end to the historic COVID relief funds. MTEA and other teacher unions will call for the federal government to continue funding public schools at higher levels, especially schools with Title I designations and schools that fulfill the work of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We need the type of school funding that was passed in Minnesota's historic education budget last year by Governor Tim Walz. The average school building in MPS is approximately 80 years old. It's past time for the federal government and the state of Wisconsin to begin real and continued investments that will allow districts to provide safe and up-to-date facilities to learn and work in. Any questions?
What do you see happening today? What should happen today? What was fun this week?
Well, MPS has started, so there are education workers back in the building. And once again, we know that the heat index is high, so what has been communicated by MTEA is that if people do not feel well, that they are able to take the time that they need to go home and to make sure that they actually are taking care of their own health needs.
Do you think they should just cancel all activities, at least today or maybe tomorrow?
At this time, MPS has continued with the opening week of school, and once again, what we can ask for and demand as a union is that people are treated humanely, and once again, if they're not feeling well, that they have the opportunity to make sure that they're taking care of themselves.
MPS's own policy states that they should consider temperatures, specifically heat indexes of 95 degrees. That's the threshold to close schools for students. Why do you think teachers don't fall in that same category if they're having teachers go to school? Our heat index, our meteorologists are predicting up to 110 today.
You know what, I'll say this. There are thousands of students and workers, and they do have different needs, and that includes asthma, that includes diabetes, other health conditions, etc. And what we're seeing across the country is that heat is a continued issue in our buildings, and without that investment from the federal government and from the state of Wisconsin, this is going to be something that we continue to see again. So there are, as you stated, policies in effect, and they need to be enforced, but we also have to continue to put the pressure on the federal government as well as the state government to do right by our students and our workers.
Is it true that you guys asked MPS to hold off on teachers coming back to the classroom today, asked for classrooms to be held in the AM and possibly hold off on DPI mandated training that's happening today?
What we know is that, there is an increase, or buildings are slightly cooler in the morning. And so we have asked that teachers be allowed to come in, do the work that they need for their classrooms in the morning, and that that professional development, et cetera, be looked at for something different, something that would just make sure that people are able to take care of themselves.
Do you have any specific numbers, anything you could share of how many teachers are exactly working today?
I do not have that number.
A lot of data suggests why I asked that many people doing work together in those buildings, kind of like a classroom in the sense of the amount of people doing their jobs. There's studies that say in the heat, less good for students to be able to do their jobs. How does that impact the teachers trying to do what they just need to do?
Honestly, it's the same thing. I mean, I think we all could talk about working conditions, et cetera, but when you have 105 heat index, it is difficult. It is difficult for people to work, to learn, and et cetera. So that is why we are calling for the state, the federal government to do something better for our students and our workers.
We know funding isn't quick, so why not call on MPS to take immediate action so teachers aren't forced to take sick time or forced to take their own PTO just to be comfortable in their own working environment?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. State and federal funding takes a long time. Why are you not pushing for MPS to make the decision to consider teachers' health instead of It seems like teachers are having to use their own sick time and PTO if they don't feel comfortable going to work today.
Can we pause
Have you-
for a second?
Sure.
Fingers in my career.
I just don't understand why you guys aren't, I mean, we've seen the post on Facebook, so why not just be honest with the media about you guys
We
kind of
heard
calling
your
out?
question.
Oh.
We're gonna take a pause here for a minute, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.